Warning, MF Uncensored contains adult language and discussion. Listener discretion is advised.
We're a couple of misfits. We're a couple of misfits. What's the matter with misfits? That's where we fit in. We're not Duffy and Dilly. Don't go around willy-nilly. Seems to us kind of silly.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to MF Uncensored. Don't forget, if you guys are listening to us on the go, you can find us on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, basically anywhere you get your podcast. You can also find more of our content on our website, themisfitfaction.com. There you find links to not only this show, but some of our other shows like Cinematic Adventures and the Multiverse Fancast, as long as news, reviews, articles, and of course, our merch store. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Paul. With me in the studio today is Ronnie. Ronnie, how are you today?
Doing fantastic. How about you?
Oh, I can't complain. I'm excited for this episode. This is going to be a fun little topic for us.
Yes.
So we spend a lot of time, usually like 15 minutes before each show, so not that much time, trying to figure out what we're going to do topically. Sometimes we have a topic that we have planned out, and other times we just kind of see, well, let's see what we can think of. So for today, since we've been talking a little too much maybe about the afterlife the last 2 weeks. We had our interview with Spirit Medium Daniel, and we talked a little bit about our own personal beliefs of what happens after you die. We wanted to talk a little bit more about how we live. And in today's modern landscape, one of the biggest things that we can't go a day without is technology. Ronnie, what are your thoughts on technology in the modern world right now?
It obviously has a lot of good to it, but I think there's a lot more bad that comes from technology, or that could end up coming from technology in the future.
Mm-hmm. So it's going to be a general topic. We're not going to talk about specifically one thing or the other. I mean, we could probably do an entire episode just on social media and how that's changed. And we'll touch on social media. We're going to touch a little bit on cell phones and how they've changed and evolved over the years, and pretty much how we interact with not only each other, but also spend our leisure time, PlayStation, Xbox, all those things. And we're not going to say any of these things are necessarily bad. It's all about moderation and how that you use them. And we'll see. Maybe we'll have some differing opinions, and we'll obviously have differing opinions from you guys. I find that the younger you are, the more you defend technology. And then the older you are, the grumpier you are about technology.
Amen.
Now, for us, Ronnie and we're millennials. So we like late stage millennials. We're at the end of the millennial cusp, I guess. Yeah. So the best way to describe it is we grew up with the technology. So it's not like, my personal favorite phrase is still okay boomer when you try to explain technology and they're like, what? But we grew up where the technology grew with us. Yeah. So as it was creating new things, we were just kind of along for the ride. So for us, there was no steep learning curve. It's starting to get there now. There are certain things that I will never understand and certain things that I'm just not that good with. There's still nothing more impressive than when you would turn off your router and then turn it back on and your family's like, whoa, how'd you do that?
I'm a genius.
I fixed the internet. No big deal. Right? I mean,
Ralph broke it. I fixed it.
It's stupid. But for us, we have that unique perspective. Now, for some of our younger listeners, a lot of you guys may not relate 1,000% to some of the things that we're going to talk about. Yeah. That's okay. For some of our older listeners, we may need to explain it more than once with smaller words.
Yeah, right.
And again, we're not trying to be insensitive or mean, but just it is what it is. Yeah. And that's a sign of times and signs of changing. And for us, we always grow and evolve and we change and we adapt. The way that I think now is very different than when I thought in my 20s or my teenage years. And, with age and time comes
great responsibility.
I was going to say wisdom, but I'm not sure if I'm there yet.
Yeah.
Experience, I guess?
Yeah,
we'll go with experience. So let's start with, what's the earliest technology that you remember being able to use?
Ooh, that's a great one.
Yeah.
I feel like, do appliances count?
Sure.
Then it was probably a microwave.
Okay.
But if we're not talking about common things, right? Like a household appliance, the first thing of technology I probably used was a Nintendo.
Yeah, I was actually going to say the same thing. Turning on the Nintendo. Yeah. That was the big accomplishment.
Yeah.
Because as most households, as a small child, I was not allowed to use the majority of the electronics in our house.
Yeah.
The microwave, the stove, any of those things.
Yeah.
But I remember being able to turn on Nintendo for the first time, and we still thought that blowing into the cartridges would remove the dust and make it work.
It worked, though. It did.
It always worked because it just needed time to just keep, it's the turn off, turn on mentality.
But in our minds, we were like, we're magicians. Watch this.
and you end up ruining all the chips inside and just spitting in it and all that stuff. Oh God, it's sad now because we'll talk a little bit about gaming because that's just kind of for us that's part of our growing up. Nintendo, then Super Nintendo, PlayStation, N64, Sega Genesis, like all these things. So nowadays you can just stream a game. Like you can download a game straight to your console, no going to the store, no nothing, no human interaction.
Yeah.
And it's weird because back in my day, you had to go buy a game, you had to save up your money to go buy a game. You had it was a fun little process, just like Blockbuster or Hollywood Video.
Yeah.
Like going out to buy an actual video.
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts on gaming then versus now? Because you're not a big gamer.
I'm not a big gamer. Not even when I was a kid, I really wasn't a big gamer. When I did play, I played a lot of the sports game because that's what I did growing up was playing sports. So I think nowadays it's just gone to a crazy extreme where you can make money just for playing a game.
I know. I wish I had gotten on the start of that. Like Twitch and all that.
Yeah, like you can record yourself playing a game and people will watch it and pay you to watch.
It's wild.
Play a game.
It is so weird.
I mean, you could argue that with sports or whatever, but it's sports, you need talent.
Hey, whoa. Games, you need talent too. Let's take it down a notch.
Anyone could play a game.
But can anybody play it well?
Yeah.
Not necessarily. I know plenty of people that cannot game for their lives, like you.
That's not true. Give me a month of practice and I'll
so something that you need to practice and have talent for and then build up skill for? Oh, but anybody can do it. Shut up, you.
Anyone can do it.
Anyone can play sports then too.
No.
Yeah.
You have to be athletically gifted to play sports majority of the time.
And for gaming,
you don't have to be athletically gifted to game.
But for gaming, you need good hand-eye coordination. You need good neural time. You need to be able to focus on all sorts of things at once. Gaming's not easy. I play Call of Duty with producer Melanie, and just I hate it because I'm so bad at it. But it's funny because we played one of the previous Call of Duties when it first came out for a long time. I think it was Cold War.
Yeah.
And we played that for a long time. And I got pretty good online because I played and I played and I practiced. And then I stopped playing Call of Duty completely because other games come out, distractions, this, that, the other thing. We got the most recent one. And first round, I was like, this is stupid. I hate it. I'm so bad at this.
Controller goes through the TV.
Tempting. Very tempting. But I will actually argue that video games in themselves, I have no problem if it's like a video game tournament or a competition, going to watch. Just your average Joe Schmo. But then again, who are we to talk about just, doing something on the internet and expecting people to just be so entertained?
They are entertained.
Are
you not entertained?
And we don't ask for money.
No.
At this point, go to our store, please.
Yeah, right?
Donate.
Por favor.
Empanadas. But so I get the idea of gaming. And, I grew up, competitive gaming is much different now versus then. Now they'll do huge tournaments and thousands of people are playing and it's high pace and all this stuff. For me, the pinnacle of it was you couldn't even really play against each other in early games. You had to play co-op. Super Mario, Mario Luigi.
Yep.
You would play after one player died. That's just the way that it went. Yeah. And I remember when Pokemon came out. Pokemon was a worldwide phenomenon. And it was also the first really big indicator that portable gaming could be such a big thing. And that's another thing. The technology has gotten wild with graphics and portability and being able to take these gigantic games. I have the Switch. I love the Switch. Yeah. And being able to just plug it into my TV and then take it on the go and keep playing. It's so who would have thought that would have been a thing? And I'm talking Pokemon came out late 90s in America. Yeah. I mean, I think it came out earlier in Japan, obviously, but it's wild. Yeah. And I remember having to plug in the cable between two Game Boys so you could fight each other or trade, and that was it.
Great.
That was the extent. And if you got mad and you were losing, oops, cable came out.
Yeah, right.
And even that, it went from you had a cable, then there was a wireless sort of thing but you had to be facing each other. They could only be 5 feet away. It was weird. Then in Japan, they came out with a Pokemon game that used a cell phone. You could use your cell phone, old school. We're going to talk about phones in a minute, but and then it turned into wireless, and then it turned into Wi-Fi, and now it's crazy the things that you could do with gaming. And I think stuff like that is a great example of building a community. There are people that game together that have never met each other in real life, but talk to each other and have social interaction a lot. And I think during especially COVID and stuff like that, I think gaming and the was a very important thing. And I we're going to talk a little bit about how technology has been bad and how but not all technology is bad, and it's really to how you use it, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But let's talk cell phones. Do you remember your first cell phone?
Yes, I do.
What was it? Do you remember?
I don't remember what it was called, but I remember it was a little flip phone.
Oh, you had a flip phone?
I had a flip phone.
Oh, baller.
Yeah, right?
Love it.
Yep, I remember having a flip phone. I don't remember what it was, but I went from the flip phone to the Razor.
Oh, I had the Razor. The Razor was awesome.
Yep. Then I went from the Razor to... it was it wasn't the Sidekick, but it was because I think the Sidekick was more for a different carrier or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it was I had Verizon's almost version of the Sidekick type of thing, the little slide. And actually at one point I had the chocolate.
The chocolate? I don't even know what that is. What was the chocolate? No.
It was a little rectangle thing that you would push up and the keyboard would be there.
Oh, yeah. I had something like that.
Yep.
I think my first one was a Nokia, because those were the big ones. And it was a hand-me-down from my sister, who's younger than me. Wrap your heads around that. But also, that was during a time where you didn't really have a cell phone.
Yeah.
And I remember you could make a call on it. You can get a call on it. You could get voicemail. And I think I had 3 games on it. And one of them was Snake.
Snake. Yep.
You can't go wrong with it. Most frustrating game in existence. Yes. There's no... Oh, God, Snake.
And we had to go... To say A, it was 1, 1, 1, 1.
Yep.
2, 2, 2, 2, 2. That's how we used to have to text.
Oh God, writing anything out in text was a nightmare and just the worst thing possible. Then I think I got the Nextel.
Okay.
Which came up next. Oh yeah, I still say that's the pinnacle of phone technology.
Believe me. But
you would definitely try and get your friends in trouble during school, and I didn't know how to use it at first. I remember because somebody was making fun of me for trying to do the I didn't have one at the time, but my sister was trying to get in touch with me on the bus because she got driven in because she was a princess, and so one of her friends was on the bus with me, and she goes, "It's your sister. She wants to talk to you." So I opened the phone and I go, "Hello," and she's like, "No, you got to press the button." I was so I pressed the button and say hello, but I let go. She's like, "Hold the button down." I'm like, "What?" It's an actual walkie-talkie. Yeah. Oh my God. I still say that they need to bring back the idea of Nextels and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I think Nextel actually became a government cell phone. Mm-hmm. They use them in the military, but I could be totally making that up, and it just sounded really good.
I agree with you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And then I think I moved finally to I don't even remember. I know at one point I did have the push-up one where you push so you could text, but I remember it broke so that if you pushed up on it, the screen would turn off completely.
Yeah.
And then you'd have to perfectly align it so that the screen came back on. So eventually I wasn't even able to text anymore.
Yeah.
And then I'm a Droid guy. Hold it against me as much as you want, but I've always gone Samsung.
Just ruin all the group chats.
Good. I'm sorry you guys don't like different colors. It's so weird. But nah, it's weird. The whole iPhone versus Samsung debate,
they're the same freaking thing.
They're the same thing.
They're the same exact thing.
And then when the next one comes out, yours is going to get worse.
Yeah.
It's just the way that it is.
Exactly.
But for me, I wanted one with a really good camera, so I picked my current phone. Mm-hmm. I wanted a good one. I debated going over to the iPhone. It's just I didn't want to.
Yeah.
Why? Why do I need to do this?
Because they're smaller and sleeker.
It's weird. See, that's the other thing. Cell phones have gone in such fluctuation about how big or small they should be. I remember, what was it, Zoolander, where he's got the little tiny one, and he's like, hello. And it's the smallest thing. I forget which comedian did a bit about it. I think it was Robin Williams, where he talked about how they'd eventually just put them in your brains.
Yeah.
And you'd hit your forehead to answer a call.
Yeah.
You tweak your nipples to get the volume to go up. That was a time where we weren't sure where phones were going to go. And now they're small computers. The things that cell phones could do. You remember when you would accidentally hit the internet? And you had to really quick. Oh my God, the fear I just saw on Ronnie's face.
Yep. You're like, oh no,
get it off.
My parents tried to kill me. That was 38 cents right there.
I know. For every 4.5 seconds.
Yep.
My God, the internet on cell phones back in the day. Because it sucked.
Yep.
It was just bad because that's where it was. And let's talk about the dial-up modem.
Oh yes.
Game changer.
100%. Mom, can I go on the computer? No one could be on the phone right now, though.
Get off the phone!
I'm trying to dial up onto my AIM.
Yep, you got to put on the AIM, the AOL. Do you remember any of your AIM usernames?
I do remember. One was Italian KD 789. That one, and then at one point, There was another one that I had. It was like, because I was big into basketball, so it was like B-ball. I forget. It was like B-ball something, 7189, and then the last one I've ever had was my current like Gmail Yahoo account.
That's so
one.
funny.
So
I think I actually got Web Surfer 01 when I first started on the internet. Shocking. I don't know how I got that one, but that was like crowning achievement.
Yeah.
And then I forgot the password. And trying to get a password back then was almost impossible.
Yep.
So who knows if Web Surfer 01 is still floating around out there, just waiting to be reactivated. I still have an AOL email address. I still use it.
Wow, he's old.
I know. At this point, I have so many different emails, though.
Yeah.
Like, I have my work email. I have emails for our shows, which we should really consolidate into just one. Yeah. But here we are. Emails for work, home, whatever. The spam email, which I just give at this point, because now technology is like, do you want a receipt? No. Yeah. Well, you got one. Which email? No. 10% tip. Stop. But for me, like, the internet, oh, my God, it changed everything.
Yep.
And it's weird. Whenever like the power goes out or anything like that, you're like, oh no.
What am I going to do?
What am I going to do? You just go on your phone now.
Yeah.
I mean, back in the day, you had nothing. You could go outside and play.
Yeah. You could go outside and play or play. My family, the big thing, like if it was like nighttime or whatever, and the power was out, was lighting candles and like playing like a board game or something like that.
Worst board game to play with your family. What do you think?
Everyone says Monopoly, but it's my favorite because I always win.
I hate Monopoly.
I like always win that game, so I actually love that game. But Monopoly was one. The Game of Life.
Oh yeah, the Game of Life sounds good.
Those were like the two big ones in my family.
I wonder if they have a modern version of the Game of Life where it's like, go to college, $500,000 in debt. Oh,
right.
Man. 19% interest. Oh. It's weird. It's weird being in your mid-30s and an adult now.
Yep.
Weird. But, the internet, going back to it, like, came with a lot of controversy too. Like, that was when you really started to hear horror stories.
Yeah.
People getting kidnapped. Like, you were never supposed to say who you really were in a I wasn't allowed to go into chat rooms.
Yeah.
I was specifically told I can't go into chat rooms. We were told very specifically when we were young, don't get into a stranger's car and don't get in and don't meet anybody from the internet.
Yeah.
I have Uber on my phone. That does both of those things now.
Exactly. Yep.
It's wild. Yeah. And I think technology and the internet, for all the bad, it does have a lot of good.
Yeah.
But like some of the bad's horrific.
Yeah. Because, with technology now too, instead of waiting to hear for like hours or days for like news, it's to you instantly now with technology.
Now, do you think that has had a positive or negative impact on people?
Well, I think being able to know what's going on, like in the world, or being able just to look something up and getting it right away is good. However, the younger generation is all about instant gratification now. So They need everything now because that's what they're used to with the internet. But people like us, the older millennials, and everyone like that's older than us too, is like okay with waiting. We don't need that instant gratification or
I think to a point, like if I have a video that's taking too long to load, I'll get annoyed. But let's talk about social media then, because that's really where instant gratification became something. And I like social media, but I also really hate social media. I find that social media, while it adds certain levels to our lives, it is now just over consuming. I work in a high school, or I'm part of a high school community where I work. I don't know if that makes any sense, because technically I don't work for the high school, but I work with high school age kids, and their reliance on social media dictating what they do is astounding. And unfortunately for us, we have to use social media in podcasting. It's just part of it. It's become more of a job than anything else. But you talk to kids who it is their obsession.
Yeah. They need the likes, they need the comments, all that kind of stuff in order to feel like accepted or, to have some sort of gratification. So I think to that extent, that's where social media is bad. Also, the fact that with social media, things can get censored, and there's no rhyme or reason to some things being censored. And then also, I don't know about you, but I go on my phone and like every other thing on Instagram is like a half naked girl.
Yeah, so
and I'm like, I don't even follow this account. Why is this popping up?
So either one of two things are happening. One, it's some sort of collaboration with an account that you do follow.
Yeah.
And, you'll see it at the top. Or it's based on the internet, like in the area that you're connected to. So if you're connected to a specific router or a specific Wi-Fi, or you're just in the area, like, again, I'm at a high school.
Yeah.
My feed is weird.
Yeah.
And it's like things that I don't. There's a great documentary on, I think it's Netflix, called The Social Dilemma, about how social media finds out everything about you. Now, we all think that our phones are listening to us, and I'm sure to some degree that they are.
They are, and they're watching you with their cameras.
Well, that the government, that's been established. Like, Snowden and all that really established that they are, the government is. But, the government doesn't dictate what kind of ads you get. Why would the government care about my lawn care?
Because the government wants to control us.
About my lawn? I don't even have a lawn. I don't do lawn care.
They want to control us about everything.
Oh, stop it. Government. I like a good conspiracy theory, but that's too far.
No, it's not.
All right, but really, how social media determines this is it's based off your algorithms, the things that you look at, how long you look at them, what stops you from scrolling, what keeps you scrolling, what videos do you start but don't finish, what videos do you finish but you skip the next one. All of these things are like cataloged based on your device, based on your IP, based on the internet that you're there.
That's what's crazy is like the fact that they're tracking. They can track to see how long I watch a video for, and like if I scroll by it, right? Because like on Instagram, the videos don't play right away,
right?
Usually it's like a second if you're on there for like a second or so, then it starts to play. But I'm like, every time I see those things, like I'm just like scroll. Like I don't want to see a half-naked girl dancing around. Or
I'll usually report it.
Yeah.
Just because I want it off my feed. Because it's the same thing. Like you're sitting on the couch with your significant other just scrolling, and then suddenly that pops up, and there's suddenly a really awkward conversation to have.
Yeah.
And I use TikTok for the show. But of course, when I'm on it, I get sucked in. It's addictive. Yes. TikTok is exceptionally addictive for our ADHD generation. Like we want, oh, funny, oh, quick, oh, this.
Yeah.
So 90% of my feed was superhero stuff, podcast stuff, like things like that.
Yeah.
Then that other 10% was super just like inappropriate and raunchy. Yeah. And the problem with TikTok is if you don't say I'm not interested in this, it counts it as a video that you've watched, and it shows up in your watched videos.
Yeah.
So it could be really awkward and uncomfortable, and then of course it messes with your algorithms.
Yeah.
So for stuff like that, like you can take courses and you can like learn about social media with stuff like that, where how to fix all that. But TikTok's on its way out. I feel like even though it's like super popular still, it's gonna eventually get banned in the United States. It's just a matter of time. And I think that the CEO of TikTok just recently said he doesn't let his kids use it.
Yeah.
But not because he didn't say because of the content. I think it's because they're just so young.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of debate in parenting and families. How young is too young to expose kids to technology?
Yeah.
I think I don't have kids yet. And, obviously Ronnie's going to have a different perspective, which is fine. That's the whole point. I don't have a problem introducing kids to technology at a young age, within reason, within moderation. We grew up with technology. It wasn't the same technology as it was back then. I'm not going to try and quantify it that way, but we grew up with the ability to basically leave our world and enter a digital one, whether it was video games or TV. Even like VHS was big at the time. I was watching The 40-Year-Old Virgin, which that movie has actually held up surprisingly well. The only thing about it is they work at a tech store. Yeah. And I think when he's meeting like the love interest for the first time and having like an actual conversation with her, he tells her to buy the VCR/DVD player because it's more relevant. And you just can't help but be like, oh my God. She went in there for a VCR. I can't. I need to lay down.
I don't even do DVD players anymore.
No. Streaming and all that. But or Tropic Thunder, one of my favorite movies of all time. There's the scene where Jay Baruchel is just talking and he breaks it down. And this is actually true. You guys can look this up. It came down to Blu-ray, and I think there was an HD.
Yeah.
Those are the two big, like, next generation of movie entertainment. This is before streaming. This is, I think even before YouTube. No, it was probably in the YouTube generation.
Before YouTube kind of blew up.
Yeah, before monetization and all that and whatever their rules are. But he's going off about how it came down to really the bigger market was for adult entertainment or for gaming.
Yeah.
And I don't know, unfortunately, fortunately, gaming was the bigger community and the more vocal community about what kind of technology they wanted.
Yeah.
And so that's how Blu-ray overstepped HD. And now HD doesn't exist anymore. Like you can't buy an HD DVD.
No.
They're all Blu-ray or you're streaming them. And so it's funny, you look back, and even back then it was based on gaming and technology, but it's not a real sport. It's not a skill. It's not. I still disagree wholeheartedly. But what about movies and streaming and all that now? And we'll also touch base a little bit. I don't want to get too risque, but on adult entertainment.
So
start wholesome first.
So I mean, the Brave Little Toaster is amazing. I mean, I miss the DVD VHS era. Don't get me wrong, I do miss it. But again, it's just there's something about convenience with being able just to turn on your TV, go to Netflix, instead of like having to leave your house and go to Blockbuster or Hollywood Video or any of those like video stores to go rent something. Mm-hmm. You know, nowadays it's, you know, with Netflix, Hulu, you have all these different streaming services. But, you know, the problem with the streaming service now is like it takes away from doing certain things. Like some movies that come out are now coming out in theaters and streaming at the same time. So it's rare that happens, but, you know, they're trying to get all the different mediums and everything. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, I think I like streaming better because you don't have to sit through commercials, even though as a kid I used to love the commercials because that was like your pee break time.
Pee break, get your snacks.
Get your snack. Like, it was like a race, like a little mini race every time. It was like, I gotta wait for commercial. I gotta pee, but I gotta wait. Commercial, and it was like, pew, you're out.
And you had to make it back in time.
Bathroom, right? And you had to make it back in time. You couldn't even rewind. I mean, nowadays you can with the DVR. But when we were like younger, it was no, you missed that 30 seconds. You're never getting that ever.
Did you ever have TiVo?
No,
never had TiVo either. But TiVo was like the big thing. Like you could pause TV.
Yeah.
Oh God, can you imagine?
And then I remember at one point there was the picture-in-picture.
Oh yeah. Where you can watch something.
Watch like two things at the same time.
Oh God, that would drive me crazy. I'd lose my mind. But I still remember being young. And we would watch Power Rangers. I would watch with another kid in the neighborhood usually because, you know, parents worked and you needed somebody to watch your kids. So we would watch it and we would know. I think I noticed when I was like 6 that I was like, why are all the commercials always on at the same time?
Yeah.
It's because they want to keep everybody watching the same thing. Or because like if I change it to one thing, my favorite game is if something goes to commercial and I'll change it to something else and it's a commercial, I'll be like, well, this is going to be done quicker.
Yeah, right.
Uh-huh. Sneaky.
Yep. I used to do the same thing. I used to be like, all right, I'm watching this. All right, commercial, flip to this channel. Damn, this one's on a commercial. It's like, which one do I go to? Do I go back? Do I continue with this channel I'm on? And then like keep flipping back and forth. And it's like, oh, this one came back on first. All right, I'll watch this.
I guess I'm here. But let's talk. All right, we're going to do this. We're going to talk a little bit about adult entertainment.
Okay.
So I remember my first exposure to it on the internet, we'll start with the internet, was fake nudie pictures of like celebrities and stuff like that. And then I'm pretty sure that there was a stash somewhere in my house of stuff. I'm not going to go too deep into this, not a word. But I remember that's where it started. And for nowadays, you talk to a child, and you ask if they've ever seen this, that, or the other thing. And like 5 or 6, they're like, oh, yeah. You're like, wait, what?
Yep.
And I will. The one thing that about the internet and technology that I really hate is the overexposure, especially for children. Pornography's not real. Mm-hmm. It's a movie.
Yeah.
It's got a script. Some of them better than others. It's got, it's production. It's not just one long take. It's a lot. It's like it's making a movie, and
no one can really last that long.
I know, right? This one's an hour and a half. Who watches these? But I do think that there's a big discussion about overexposure to our children, and I agree. I think that having such easy access to it now, when I was 14, it would have been fantastic. But notice how I said 14, not 7, not 6. I think that, and unfortunately, kids are smart.
Yeah.
We always found ways to do things we weren't supposed to.
100%.
Whether it was a little bit of the old alcohols, smoking, whatever it is.
Devil's lettuce.
The devil's lettuce, my favorite phrase ever. But you look back and remember trying to watch like that one channel at like 10 o'clock at night on a Saturday.
Yep.
Like it was
all staticky and you're like trying to see.
But then for like a half hour, it would like be normal.
Yeah.
It's like American Pie.
Yeah.
If any of the younger listeners have not watched American Pie,
Damn, we're old.
I know, right? The story itself is relevant.
Yeah.
Right. The whole idea, it is a little dated and it's very sexist. Well,
Yes.
let's be honest. It's the male genre teenage fantasy. They still make those movies. Let's not forget.
Yep.
And you see, like Jason Biggs, his character, he's like going through all this where he's trying to watch an adult film on his TV and it's all static and it's just that's the opening scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. But nowadays, I really feel like the kids are who are suffering the most with technology, but then adults are too.
Yeah. For
being an adult and being especially married, and there is nothing but opportunity and temptation. And unfortunately, it is just it sucks. Yeah. I mean, remember when we were younger, when we wanted to get attention on quote unquote social media, you put up a depressing away message on AIM. Like, don't talk to me, working through it.
Yeah.
Or just Linkin Park lyrics. That's all you needed. Oh my God, are you okay? No, I don't want to get into it.
Yeah.
I spent hours just making away messages. Like quotes from TV shows, songs.
Yep.
BRB, that's always a good one. AFK.
Yeah.
Away from keyboard. Or, of course, one of our favorite acronyms, ASL, age text location. Yep. Weird. Oh, my God. Weird times, man.
Oh, yeah.
But nowadays, like, I feel bad for kids growing up with this technology, just in regards to, it's great to have it. Like, it's great to have certain technology, like car technology is only getting better and safer. I still don't trust self-driving cars. No. But, like, I just got a brand new car, and the safety features are great. Yeah. And the technology is great, too. Like, no more plugs, no more this. Yeah. Like, remember when we had the tape deck plug you had to plug into, like, an iPod? Yeah. What's an iPod? Like, it's wild. And this is only in the past 30-plus years. Yeah. Technology at one point peaked with the radio. Yeah. Like, that was the shit. You'd be
radio, then there was the 8-track.
The 8-track, and then black and white TV, then color TV. And it's crazy the jumps in technology, especially nowadays, where we went from, a limited amount of channels to now we have infinite things to watch. Yeah. And still can't find anything to watch.
Right. You got hundreds of channels, 17 different streaming services and everything like that. It's ridiculous. But back to kids with technology. So I work with kids, right? And it boggles my mind to see like an 8-year-old with a cell phone. I'm like, your child is 8. What in the world do they need a cell phone for?
So here's the dilemma that I find with kids and cell phones. And this is just observation. And this is also just studying. So your kid wants a cell phone. Well, why do you need a cell phone? So I could call you guys or I could talk to my friends. Okay, solid reasoning there. I can get behind this. So you get your kid one of those safety cell phones. They have them, like where it has like 4 numbers in it. You can only do A, B, C, or D, and that's it. That's what they could do. That's why I liked the iTouches. You remember those? They were basic. I used to have an iTouch and a cell phone. Yeah. Like my pockets were loaded with just technology at one point. And the iTouch I would use for music, for this and games and stuff like Bejeweled. Yeah. Good classic. But then you have now it's a competition between kids and even adults. Like you get a brand new cell phone, you tell everybody you got a brand new cell phone. Like again, I got a brand new car. I had to stop myself from like, why do I need to post that on social media?
I got a car.
Like I didn't tell anyone except for my close. Like I think you found out just because I annoyed you that I was like, you didn't notice? Yeah. Because I went to your job. Yeah. And like it's crazy. And don't get me wrong, when we post something, like I keep very close eyes on all of our stats and stuff like that. Even we were talking about keeping track of how long you listen. Spotify tells you when somebody stops your podcast. Yeah. So all you guys that are still listening, heroes. Yes. Because if you stop in the first 10 minutes, I will know and I will find you, Liam Neeson. So that kind of stuff I get. Yeah. And that's been around forever. That's TV ratings, that's movie reviews, stuff like that. For me, though, it can be really disheartening when suddenly you see, well, why didn't this react the same way? It's almost similar to the exact same post like I just did, but it's not getting the same traction. Yeah. Why is this episode doing better than others? Why is this interview doing better than this topic? And it's disheartening sometimes. Yeah. And I'm not trying to say that to like tell you guys to go give us 5-star reviews and everything. I find a lot of pride in the fact that we put out a product and we put it out on our own without anybody else telling us how we should be doing it or what we should be doing. Like we had a publicist at one time and we did advertising in that regards, with Ray's Energy. I remember Ray's was, I still miss Ray's though. Not gonna lie, it just turned out to be more of a financial thing than anything else. Yeah. And we were, catering our material towards some of those things. And it wasn't as real. It wasn't as organic. So that's why we just kind of try and put out a good product. Yeah. But nowadays, your product is determined by how many likes you get. Yeah. And it sucks. Mm-hmm. You got so many great podcasts, YouTube channels, stuff like that are out there. But because, like YouTube's a perfect example. YouTube, to get monetized, you have to have like 10,000 viewing hours and you have to have 100 subscribers and you have to have X amount of videos. And then they'll throw ads into your stuff. And then you get your own, your own advertisements that you do. And it's a lot. It's a full-time job. Yeah. And that's why we had to kind of take a step back from podcasting. So I don't know. Technology in that regards is as it always was. Yeah. With ratings and commercials. Like I was just watching The Truman Show. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Watching that as an adult is wild. Yeah. And especially looking at it from back then. But what do you think about though social media specifically for kids?
No need. No need? No need. I mean, so my stepdaughter, she is 13, turning 14, and she does have TikTok. Mm-hmm. She does have an Instagram, but the Instagram account is not on her phone. Okay. It's on my wife's phone. So if she wants to go on there, she's got to use my wife's phone. And so like that could be monitored at all times. And then she has Snapchat with just, or whatever. But those are the only 3 like social media things she has. And the TikTok stuff, like she's a dancer. So she'll post like videos of doing like the TikTok dances and stuff like that, whatever. And we obviously, we both follow her on her TikTok account. So like we can see like when people comment or whatever, and we can see like if there's any creepers. Cause again, she's 13 turning 14, like developing, so to that extent we're okay with it, but I mean she's a teenager. I don't think an 8-year-old needs any social media. Doesn't even need a cell phone. One of the safety phones, where all you can do is like text and call, that's different, but they don't need to have the internet on their phone when they're 8 years old.
Now what do you think about the social issues with that though, where your kid walks into school with a safety phone and all the other kids have iPhones, Androids. Your kid feels left out. Your kid feels like there's something wrong or kids make fun of them for it. What are your thoughts? How would you console your child on that one?
If someone's making fun of my kid,
okay, so
I will not beat an 8-year-old up.
Again.
I would say something to the parent, be like, hey, like tell your kid to stop being a dick. Yeah. And I would just tell them, like, why do you need the cell phone, right? I'd be like, that's the thing is you don't need the cell phone for an internet, right? You have a Chromebook, you have the laptop, you have this and that. Like, I think nowadays a lot of the parents, which are younger parents, like our age or younger, rely on cell phones, iPads as a babysitter. Mm-hmm. That's the thing is parents are just like, here's your iPad. You're crying. Here's your iPad for like 2-3 hours. What's that doing? That's doing absolutely nothing for the child.
I don't know. So I'll be on the opposite end of that argument because I was the 6-year-old who was like, all right, go play video games for an hour. Yeah. So I get it. I do. Yeah. And the whole video game debate could be, as much as like Ronnie and I are really just poking fun at each other, like it's still a debate about violent video games and ADD and where did ADHD and ADD really become commonly prevalent, and a lot of people blame technology. Yeah. So that actually seems like it's going to be a perfect place for us to end the episode, and we're going to see how many responses we get on that last part. But if you guys enjoyed this episode and you want us to do a follow-up, please let us know. You can email us at misfitfaction@gmail.com. You can also find us on Facebook, The Misfit Faction, or MF Uncensored. We're on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram,
all the social media.
Medias. We bashed to a point. I think we just bashed mean people on the internet. Yeah. But make sure you guys reach out to us, and don't forget to check out our website. We have brand new articles on the website. Yours truly finally got back onto that, so make sure you guys check those out. Our store's on there. Some of our other shows are on there, so please give it a look. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. It really does make a difference to the show. And if you guys have differing opinions about this technology debate, please let us know. We'll read them. We'll talk about them. We'll respectfully agree or disagree. And if the conversation is good enough, who knows? We might have you on the show. So make sure you guys let us know your thoughts. As always, I'm Paul.
I'm Ronnie.
And we'll be back next time.
See ya.
Hey guys, it's Paul, and the Misfit Faction is looking for your help. We are trying to grow not only our network, but also grow our brands, and the best way to do that is if you guys are looking to start your very own podcast. Maybe you guys have been listening to us for a while. Maybe it's something you guys have always wanted to do, but you're not sure how to get started. If you go to podbean.com/misfitfaction, you guys will get a month of free podcasting on us. That is a gift from us. So make sure if you guys are looking to start your own show, you reach out to us and go to podbean.com/misfitfaction. Also, maybe you guys have your own online business or service that you're always looking to grow, and advertising is a very big part of that. If you guys go to sponsorship.podbean.com/misfitfaction, you guys can get $100 worth of free advertising, again, as a thank you from us to you guys. That's sponsorship.podbean.com/misfitfaction.